Hi, I'm Stuart. We're here at the High End Munich show. It's the last Munich High End before next year we move to Vienna, as everybody will know. I'm with Frank and Klaus
Hello.
from Audium, should I say. You are a loudspeaker manufacturer based in Berlin.
Yes, we are.
And you make very interesting speakers. Just give our readers a little bit of information about the brand, where you come from, what your background is.
Yeah, the background is self-employed, so I started with speakers coming from the passion of music, and so finally, after a long time and long ways, I had the idea to combine a full-range speaker with an integrated subwoofer as basic concept for all our products, because I love the sound of a full-range speaker. So this was the idea, to keep it, but to transform the concept in a way that the limits are not so dominating the sound. So we added the subwoofer inside to have a smaller full-range speaker with a wider frequency range, especially in the highs.
So basically you've got a point source wideband loudspeaker integrated into a cabinet with bass enhancement, would you say? Is that?
Yeah, something like that.
And what do you think that brings to the party? What do you think the benefits of that system are?
Klaus perhaps can
You're
also
the chief technical officer.
The real benefit is this, that if you compare our concept with a multi-way loudspeaker, with a tweeter, a mid-range and a woofer, the sound always has to get separated into these three bands, which are reproduced and by the appropriate driver. What means the sound is cut into pieces, radiated from different sources. Some is radiated directly to your ears, some is radiated through reflections from the room, and then at your ear this sums up to some kind of not that clear sound anymore.
Okay.
And impulses, for instance, get broader and not that exact anymore. And if you use just one driver as a point source, you get rid all of those negative effects.
And is the point source fully open? There's no crossover in there to add distortion, or?
There is equalization inside, for sure.
Okay.
But he explained it from the technical side, from the sound side, and the feeling you have with a full-range speaker. That's different to a multi-way speaker, because you have the three-dimensional stage. You have a more natural sound, and this is what the idea behind for the sound perspective.
I think from my experience with your speakers, that's exactly what I got. That point source gives you a better sound stage. It's a more natural sound stage than things being.
It's almost holographic.
Absolutely,
it's three-dimensional reproduction in front of you.
And that's you can't recreate that with any other speaker other than the point source widebanders. And I think what you've done with enhancing the bass is really interesting. Now, talking about the bass side of things, you do both passive and you do active speakers, which is very interesting. And you can buy all your speakers in both passive and active. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
and
we have
also.
we have every speaker in three versions. Okay. So you have the passive speaker, the active speaker, and the wireless speaker. So even if you start with a passive speaker, and with the time you change your idea or whatever motivates you to swing to, for example, an active speaker, you can upgrade the speaker by taking out the passive model and implement an active model or even the wireless model.
And is that done by the end user, or does it have to come back to Berlin, or is that done by the dealers, or?
It can, for the smaller models, it can even be done by the end user at home.
Oh, wow.
Because you just have to unscrew 3 or 5 screws, take out the module, and then unplug the cables to the full range and to the woofer, take the active module, plug it on. You cannot even make it wrong because it's different size of the connectors.
Okay.
Screw it in and connect it to your preamp, and then it's done. Or for the wireless, connect them to your Wi-Fi network, go to AirPlay, and the music will come in waves over you.
So how do you see a lot of people would say that the Bluetooth and the streaming and all the rest is a lifestyle product. And I think in hi-fi there's a degree of snobbery about speakers that look good, fit into your lifestyle. How do you see your typical user? How would you describe? Is it an audiophile user? Is it just someone that loves music? You tell me how you think your typical end user is.
We have an audiophile concept, you know, and from the basic, but we don't address it to only one kind of user, you know. So this is why we offer all three versions. The wireless version is addressed to complete different people, the one who is passive.
And they do look beautiful, your speakers. Tell us a little bit about the design of the cabinets, and because you've got that front baffle that's very distinctive, and the shape is distinctive of the speakers as well. So you're the CTO. Tell us a little bit about how that comes about.
Yeah, the thing about the Comp X, as we call it now,
so that's the
new
Comp X is the new speaker. Yeah.
So we made an update and facelift about the recent comps. And one thing we noticed is that the old baffle was optically very good fitting and was appealing to the shape of the cabinet, but it was not perfect in the way of the sonic radiation. You know, it made some kind of effects we couldn't modify through the crossover. And so Frank, he is more or less the speaker expert. I'm the electronics guy. He said we have to adjust the baffle and bring a new look into the speakers. And so we again had the combination of, on the one hand, bring more straight lines into the shapes of the loudspeaker, and also even improve also the way sonic is radiated by the baffle.
And the new construction has also some improvements about the resonances of the cabinet. So the front baffle is not really fixed mounted on the cabinet. There's a swimming construction so that the vibration of the cabinet doesn't affect so much the front baffle. So the full range driver has no influence from the vibrations of the cabinet.
By the bass.
Okay. And what do you? Whereabouts do you sell your speakers? Obviously, you're a European company. Is your main market in Europe or the States or Asia?
We have different markets. You know, in Europe we have for sure our main market because Far East ask for a little bit different look. It's a little bit too modern, the speaker, perhaps for average Chinese guy, you know. So because you don't see so much speakers. It's a very decent product, you know. So
Chinese like big.
To see more drivers, you know. So but now we have a Chinese distributor which is starting very well, and so we will see.
So would you say that the Audium concept is something that is stripped back? It's a very stripped back design, isn't it? Purity? Would you say it's about purity? And how would you describe the sound of your speakers? We said it's holographic, but what about the timbre and all the rest of it?
We try to give it a neutral sound. We focus on the natural way. It's not even if it is a full range, it doesn't mean it has to have a warm sound or something like that, because of the special construction with a smaller full range, which doesn't need to give the bass. We have the possibility to serve every frequency in an appropriate way.
I think what's quite interesting is wideband speakers, full range speakers, they tend to play jazz well, they tend to play classical music quite well. But I've experienced your speakers lots of times, and they just seem to play all kinds of music very, very well, which is very unusual for a wideband speaker. And how have you done that? How have you brought that out of the wideband?
As I said, by the special construction, you know, and we have a long gap woofer, so we are not limited in the lower ranges, and you see sometimes wideband concepts which have an additional tweeter
On top of it.
on
yeah.
top. But for me, this construction is against the technical logic, because the length of the waves from deeper frequencies is much longer. So the phase is much better to combine with a subwoofer as with an external tweeter. So we choose this construction to.
And if you think of satellite subwoofer systems, you also have the crossover frequency between the woofer at 140, 150 hertz, what is similar to our system here. So, and also what is very important, you know, the ear is most sensitive in the range from 1K up to something, and if you have a full range with a big diameter, you know, the maximum frequency is at some K, and then the crossover is exactly in the range where the ear is most sensitive, and we move it to this low frequency, so you do not notice this that much
and
anymore.
as you said, we have a very pure design. We want to have a modern product, but we want to have an audiophile product, you know, and so this construction gives us the opportunity to meet both of us. And the woofer, the separate woofer, gives you really a fundamental bass. We have a nice grooving bass
punch.
and punch.
Power.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where the sound can live from in combination with this holographic behavior of the full range.
So you mentioned that your speakers are very modern, and they are very modern looking. What kind of colours? We've got white ones here, but what other colours do you do?
The colors.
Yeah.
You can get the speaker in every color you want.
Any colour.
Even in HiFi PiG pink.
Yes.
Good
You
Lord.
want to have some?
Why
We
not?
have another video soon.
Yeah.
When we
I think that's. We've mentioned lifestyle, and as I said, lifestyle in audiophile circles is seen as a dirty word. But I think for me, if we can, as brands like you, that are very important in bringing that audiophile concept to a wider audience that are music lovers, rather than just being that hard and fast audiophile person that wants big drivers, lots of boxes and all. You've simplified the design down to something that is accessible and sounds great. So the new Complex, how much is that for the passive, the wireless and the active? What are the prices in the Europe?
It's the difference between passive and active is quite easy for the smaller models. What means COM3, COM5, and COM7? It's 1,000 euros extra.
Okay.
And we start the COM3 with around about 2,000 euro. And for the bigger models, COM8 and 9, it's 1,500.
And what the difference?
Additionally,
What the difference in those speakers?
We have two types of full range drivers. The one with 3-inch, which is used in COM3, 5 and 7,
Okay.
with a passive full metal phase plug, and the 4-inch full range driver in the 8 and 9, with a whistle cone and an active phase plug.
Okay.
No? And through its bigger membrane, it needs to move less and produces less distortion.
Okay.
And the, I think, weird thing is that the bigger driver has a higher maximum frequency than the smaller one, because you always think more mass cannot move that fast, no? But it's the opposite. The COM8 and 9 go up to 21 something.
So the speed of a speaker is really important to get that information across, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're at High End. Sorry.
Yeah. No, this is the different type of drivers we use, and the woofers are in the smaller models. What is also very special, an oval 6x9 inch woofer.
Okay.
So we can make this very slim cabinet. No? And the COM8 and 9 have a 22 and 26 inch driver from CS from Norway.
So the 6x9 is that kind of shape.
As you said, we also pay attention to the point that you have to live with the product. You know, not only listen to something. You look at the product; it has to fit in your environment, in your room, and so it's an important thing. So we try to have a maximum area for the woofer and a big gap even the speaker doesn't become so bright and so massive.
Yeah.
You know?
And
So we use the oval shape.
And they're
for it.
downward firing.
All is downward fire.
And that's obviously important for speaker placement, for making them easier to place.
Yeah, for sure, because it makes also the speaker not so dependable from the room, because of the floor. The floor is always the same. You know, the distance from the floor to the woofer is always the same. So we can control the behavior of the speaker much easier as in case in front of the wall, you know, because you just need to make it like that with your voice. You see, the sound is always very different depending on how near you are on the back wall. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
with a down-fired woofer,
It doesn't.
It's always the same.
It's the same.
it's always the same.
Yeah.
So we have a much better control for different rooms.
Okay, so we're at High End Munich. What's the feedback? That we're on day 2, I think, at Munich, which is press and business days. What's the feedback been like?
To be honest, it
Yeah.
was really successful. And
Yeah.
the new design, you know,
Yeah.
it adapts the old design, but the new design is for all people a big step forward,
Yeah.
much more modern. So we get a very good feedback, and also
Everybody said, "Wow."
yeah,
Did you
we
change
are
that
really
much?
surprised.
Yeah.
It's good, and we find some new distributors as well. So it's for us a good show up to now.
Cool.
I would call it a success.
And
Yes.
I would love to review these at some point very soon,
Yeah.
if that's all right. But guys, thank you ever so much. Will you be going to? You're obviously going to go to the Vienna show.
For sure.
That's your territory.
Yeah, it's the home play, the
Yeah.
home game. How do you say? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you ever so much, guys. It's been a pleasure speaking to you as always, and best of luck.
Has been a pleasure
Thank
to
you.
be here.
Thank you, Stu.